Why?
I can do so. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you again to another Fuel by Dark. This evening we find ourselves not at this time, though the prince, his presence has been this time the safety of the mansion, and has elected to go directly to a location that has been chosen by Mr. Harry Walsh, our engineer. That location was, I'm going to assume, clear to Sam and his staff. Whatever location you would like that to be, Guthrie.
We'll set that in East Carolina. Yeah, we'll set it at East Carolina University then. Yeah, Harry Walsh is in his lab clearing up. Harry Walsh is in his lab clearing up a few things and getting the demo ready for the prince.
All right. So we will pick up the scene immediately. Immediately as you are up your notes for the evening, and clearing up some last minute things. Actually, going over the notes from last night's, which was surprisingly informative. You hear a knock.
Harry goes to open the door. My prince, do come in. I think the hallway's clear.
All right. It is, Mr. Walsh. My as good at their job as they are, do seem to be overly, not a good word for it, cautious.
Well, not surprising considering all that's happened.
Either on both ends of the hallway, distance, that there is a gentleman in what looks to be street clothing, but even at this distance, you can see that there's a small earbud, ears with a coiled wire going down the back of their shirt.
Harry makes a nod of that and quickly ushers the prince in before anybody gets into the hallway.
Follows in, making sure the door closes behind him.
Harry proceeds to pull up a chair for the prince by one of the workbenches in his lab. At this, Walsh picks up a light bulb and snaps his fingers to it, and it probably lights up of its own accord. Snaps his fingers again, it shuts off, and he reveals the light bulb as just being an ordinary light bulb. Hands it to the prince for inspection.
And does so, perfectly aware, not attached in any way, and also being aware of the electrical current works, as he was live at the time.
Harry smiles. Harry smiles and takes the light bulb back. I've modified this light bulb a little bit with a new technology that I've been working on. I've been working in conjunction with Dr. Sam Nesbitt up at MIT and a couple of others who've been working. Without getting too much into the technical details, are you familiar at all with the Casimir effect, or it's better known as cosmological version, the cosmological constant, or zero-point energy?
Sam strokes his chin for a moment and he speaks. Mr. Walsh, unfortunately, it's not something I've followed in recent years.
All right. Well, just to give you a brief update, the cosmological constant is basically what causes space-time, our universe, to expand, according to from the Big Bang onwards. Now, this energy has been visibly manifested in the laboratory before via what's known as the Casimir effect, two metal plates attracting together inside a vacuum. This light bulb here has a couple of micro-vibrating plates inside a vacuum chamber that have been generating have been tapping this field and converted into electricity for the light bulb to work. Now, I've been working with some others on generating artificial gravity, which in turn will fold space-time in a certain way to be able to effectively draw this Casimir effect out as a steady stream of current. My proposal, assuming that we can keep this safe, my proposal is to build a special power plant here in Tarheel, which will tap this effect virtually limitlessly and provide us clean and off-the-grid power. I was originally going to propose that solar panel off the grid project until I discovered that certain jurisdictions here in the state, in the kind world, have been passing laws against solar panels, and I'm a bit worried that that putting up solar panels near our havens or places of business might draw attention from the kind. So I'm thinking that something like this, and then just simply having a transport system to transport batteries from the power generation station to havens as they run out, would be a much more effective way of staying off the grid.
Let me let you in on a secret about that, Mr. Walsh. Those particular areas that have been resistant to the solar power technology are actually very far and few in between. Actually, your district actually seems to be leading the way, so to speak, application. Actually, if you see, he reaches into his pocket and he produces a smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
Fiddle with it for a moment until he kind of figures out what he was trying to do. And as he hits it a couple of times, he slides it across the table there to you.
Mm-hmm.
He is basically an article about one of the power companies in the East Carolina district building solar farms throughout the district, and that they are utilizing those solar farms to provide to their customers.
Walsh takes a look at it and says, my main concern still resides, though, because these companies, while they're providing power, it's still going back onto the grid. I wanted something that would literally be able to take us as Kindred completely off the grid, no power bills, no tracing whatsoever, that would be virtually undetectable. This particular new energy source could theoretically do that.
All right. Well, you have to be aware, understand that the safety of the state, the primary concern is my primary concern, as well as that of my office.
Mm-hmm.
You have in the past provided us with valuable pieces of information and valuable technologies, as well as the late Dr. Ekman as well, that we are expressly thankful. But at the same time, as I've said, the safety of the state is our primary. How stable we get this technology?
At this scale, it's relatively safe because it's using conventional technology just coiled down. The gravitational version of this technology is based off proven technology involving electric current loops and solenoid technology, and basically it would just be a matter of upping the scale enough to bend the space-time into the curvature that we're looking for. There are only two risks that I could potentially see with this being a problem. One of which is a heat sink issue, which I'm hoping to talk to Duke Menashe about later to address the detection issue. The other issue is regarding if this technology were... this is why I want only one generating power station put somewhere safe and secure. And this is the other thing I wanted to talk to you about. I was hoping about the possibility of either gooling or bringing in... I know that we're on a bit of a manpower issue right now. And given the fact that I'm trying to build not only this project, but a number of others for various Dukes and others around the state, I was hoping about the possibility of bringing in some more manpower from the highly trained people already here in the state to maintain not only this technology, but anything else that might be coming up in the future. The proposal that I had would be a single power generation station that would be under the watch of the council, would be manned either by fledglings or ghouls who were properly trained in the high-end physics and engineering of this, which would keep the reaction stable, and then be able to transport the power accordingly. As for the actual safety factor, there's only one potential risk that really, there is only one potential real risk with this technology, and that is a runaway reaction, but that can easily be cut by shutting off the power to the magnetic generators that generate the gravitational field in the first place. I am working on a failsafe for that particular scenario.
Well, here's what I would like to see before I can sign off in any capacity.
Okay.
And please don't confuse my intention. I'm very aware of the need that you have brought up, and I'm 100% committed to your continued research in the area. But again, I'm concerned. I'd like to see a larger scale mock-up.
Okay, I can do that.
And I would like to see the results from this mock-up.
At that, Harry says, "Hold that thought," and I'm going to run a. This is a roll to actually make something work that I've that Walsh has been working on in the background for a little while. Let me see here. It's going to be intelligence. Will, as an admin note,
Yes.
As an admin note, I need to double check this. For Walsh to generate the artificial gravity field, which will in turn generate the Casimir effect, I'm thinking this is intelligence science specialty applied physics, as opposed to intelligence technology specialty engineering.
I agree with that.
All right, then that's going to be 9 dice. Yup, 9 dice. Specialties, prodigy, and applied physics being used. The reason I'm out of character applying the prodigy specialty is because this is new tech. So, okay. So basically, what we're trying to do here is roll to see whether or not the technology generates enough Casimir effect to independently light up a series of lights that are on the table that are. No, we'll go with that for later. You'll see what I mean in a sec. And oh, nice. What's the difficulty on this one?
I would have set this at an 8.
Okay, then that is 1, 2, 3, 4 successes, including the specialties. Oh, sorry, 5. 5. My mistake. There we go. 5 successes. So what Walsh does is he sets up the artificial gravity field. And a couple of things, that Walsh, that Sam will notice. There is a laser on one of the tables that's been turned on, and you'll notice that the laser itself changes color as Walsh moves the electric field generator, the gravitational field generator, a little closer to the laser. The laser actually bends a little bit and changes in frequency. And you can see a blip on a screen accordingly. That the laser actually changes in frequency. Walsh explains, this is the artificial gravity generator. What it does is it redshifts light. This is just basically the basic phenomena of this. Now, when I turn up the power, and as he does so, he turns up the power and puts a couple of light bulbs without rigging near the Actually, what I'll say is he puts on the generator, and all of a sudden a weird distortion starts going around the room, like the space starts distorting in some particular way, like the space starts expanding a little bit. The light starts looking like it's bending in weird ways. In the room.
I've heard about people being able to do this. I've never seen it in person.
Well, like I said, the technology is quite new. It's actually based off a paper. That I came across a little while ago, and I had Dr. Nesbitt double check some calculations for me before I actually gave my start on this. However, he never got back to me, but I managed to build the outline of their experiment as they described in the paper. It's basically throttle the power a little bit, we get gravitational effects. Now, if I can tap this into a turbine system, we've got effectively, if I can tap this into a turbine system, we've got enough power to maintain this for, well, the only real problem with this is that if we tap it, we are hastening the heat death of the universe. But since that's several tens of billions of years off anyway, I figure a little bit of hastening by slowing the expansion of space-time and releasing heat should not be a major problem. It won't contribute to global warming in any way because I've got plans for a heat sink for this particular puppy. I've got a plan for that. I need to talk to Duke Menashe about that plan, but otherwise it should be fine.
Yeah. Well, I have some property. Well, several places, but some property in Latoya's. Some property he's not doing a lot with down there. I'm sure he wouldn't bought it. I have some property that I'm constructing some tourism in there. Say a little bit of joint effort. You to do is contact Mr. Leveltoya and make to him. I would like to see this in application on one of those pieces of property.
I trust that we will not be having to reveal this to the Kine anytime soon. I had been planning that if this technology was feasible, that it was going to be at least a decade, maybe two, before we publicly revealed this to the Kine world.
No. Oh, trust me, they're revealing.
All right.
The company,
just want to make sure.
The company that I'm utilizing to perform this construction is very discreet.
All right. Now, I should mention as well, this is the other thing that I wanted to run by you. I'm having a bit of a manpower issue, and I'm wanting to double check about whether or not this would be okay with you. Given the fact that I've got a project for Duke Levatoli I've still got to complete. I've got inventing and manpower development for Duke Dennington, and I've got this new project for you. Not to mention the fact that there will probably be more demands on my time as court, progresses and stuff. I'm only one person and cannot run all the engineering projects in the state. And I know that ghouls are a little touchy because they can be.
Sam's hand goes up to stop you. I see where you're going. There's no issue from me. But do be aware that the area that you intend to utilize to hire, if you will, these individuals, need to speak with the Duke or Duchess that's in charge of that area. Basically, get them to agree to this as well.
Which means I'm going to have to contact Duke Dennington and get his permission to sire a few fledglings out of the ECU engineering school.
Or district you would like to use. I mean, there are several state press.
Well,
I'm sure you're aware. One of the most prestigious in the nation.
Well, okay. Well, Duke is still in your district, isn't it? If memory serves.
Yes, it is.
Well,
that is correct. It is.
If I could get if I could get permission from, I know that NC State is also there, and I remember the engineering students there who I was TAing for being, and even teaching some of the lower level classes for being quite bright there. What would you say to to perhaps my gluing, my turning, say, 3 of the top, like, you know, picking only the A level students, like, you know, A+ level students, embracing 3 of those as fledglings under my explicit supervision to make sure that every single one of them can fulfill these engineering projects for us, with the understanding, of course, that, you know, they'll be learning a lot more about about technology than they ever could as kind.
Now, just for sake of my clarification, specifically said fledgling, are you looking? Were you looking to add to our manpower numbers in the way of?
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of the way I was hoping to go with this, because I was thinking that this way, not only could they be trained under my supervision for the purposes of higher tech, but they could also be trained in the traditions. They could be, you know, they could be trained in other arts. They could be jacks of all trades that we could apply for highly specialist skills that might otherwise be, you know, intel gathering, computer work, engineering, as technology becomes as progresses for us. I'm thinking that if we can have a couple of really highly educated and really well-controlled specialists within our divisions, they might be able to do some special ops work for us as time is needed, as time to time requires. Again, that's why I'm asking you about this.
Asking he's asking, are you trying to get actual vampires or ghouls?
Actual vampires. Yeah, and that's why my character said actual vampires. Ghouls can be stolen by someone else. Yeah, no. Harry says ghouls can be stolen by someone else, which is why I'm a little bit concerned about them being a security risk. Fledglings, on the other hand, especially ones who are bloodbound to me or by extension to another kindred, are a lot harder to you know, they'd be a lot tighter and better security. Less of a security risk is what I'm thinking.
Where
Mm-hmm.
I feel led to ensure that you are aware. The limitation here, limitation that you suffer, in that your work will only be able to be completed hours.
I'm aware of that. That's why I'm also I'm aware of that particular problem. But the thing, of course, is that I still figure that by having fledglings on hand who can do supervision work, and then they in turn can ghoul, what that means is that basically we've got ghouls on staff who are under the control of the fledglings, and the fledglings are under control of me. Thus meaning that we've got, you know, supervision. Thus meaning we've got more supervision and more kindred who can work during moonlight hours.
Establish a chain of command. I like it.
Yeah, at least that was my thought. And of course, because of the fact that these fledglings would be embraced in your district, and they in turn would have to ghoul from elsewhere and, you know, do the work. I would be answerable to the council, or to you, or to Duke Gannington, or whoever you deem most appropriate to be at the top of the chain of command as to who I would answer to. But in turn, these fledglings would answer to me, and their ghouls would answer to them.
No problem with this. As has been of the state for so many years. Yes, you still will be your Duke, specifically to Mr. Duke, as far as pulling these individuals for these projects. I have no qualms on this, provided they are made perfectly aware and that you are one of the project, or excuse, project is a bad term here, I'm sorry, of these, if you will, 100% aware that you are taking on.
I understand. If they fuck up, it's my fuck up, and I pay the price. I will be keeping them for the first several nights. I'm thinking probably close to 6 months. I will be keeping them under close. I will be keeping them under close watch of me, with only me sending them off for specific projects, and they will be on telecommunication lines specific to me every time. So if I catch them doing something wrong, I'll be there to intervene and prevent them from screwing up any further. But you know what I mean. I will be making sure that they are under strict supervision for me for the next. Let's just say until they're out as neonates, they will be under my strict supervision for the entire time. And that's your call as to when they become neonates, or Duke Dannington's call. Again, I'll work out that detail later. For now, it's just going to be they're under my strict supervision.
I see. You have my permission for this.
All right.
I understand, or those among us that use this thing.
Yep.
I've heard about. Remind my staff of this.
Mm-hmm.
I will ensure receive documentation myself to cover on this.
All right. I will send you an email. I will be planning later tonight to head back up to North Carolina State and be checking back in with the engineering classes. I want to see. I want to pick the top 3 of the because NC State was where I'm used to teaching these people. I want to pick the top 3 marked students who I'm most familiar with from there, so this way at least I also know that they already know me and will be less akin to rebel against me once I turn them.
Understood.
Yeah. So please understand, I may be up in your domain for. Sorry, you were saying?
Problem with this, but like I said, if you perceive that you will be my domain, then about 24 hours to let Mr. Dannington know of his domain. I'm unsure as to what his tenants
I believe
with the R.
I believe his exact wording to me was I was allowed to take on further projects as long as they didn't interfere with my work. That was his exact wording the last time. So I'll fire him off an email to let him know that 3 new progeny will be coming into the state from your domain, as per my embracing them, and they are specifically to help assist me working on projects. And I'll escort you in.
Very well. Now,
I'll escort your.
That while may be in the maybe at NC State are under your strict command, that they also will fall of Mr. Danning within his district.
Right. Understood. I'll let him know. I'll let him know, and I'll let him know to. I'll specifically let him know that while they're pursuing their studies at NC State, actually, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to instruct every single one of them once they've finished, once I've embraced them and they've gotten used to some of the stuff. Once term is over, because it is summer term now, I'm going to have every single one of them put in for a transfer to ECU. So this way they're under my direct control there. I'm sorry to take your 3 best engineering students away from your district, but you know it's easier for keeping an eye on them. Well, if that's okay with you, of course.
There, well, as much as there may appear to be in our on the council meetings, is not intended to be any if you between districts so much as those districts being set up in the way that they are effort to further place a guiding hand as well as a better supervision.
Mm-hmm. Understood. Well, what I will do then is, as I said, I will I will have them transferred to for this September, or as soon as they possibly can, to ECU, and I'll keep control of them. I'll keep very firm watch on them while they're going through their fledgling status. I know that it's going to be a little bit of a surprise to them that they're being there's a little bit of a surprise to them that they're being embraced, but well, we need the manpower. I need the extra support, and it's all for the good of the state.
Indeed it is, sir. Indeed it is. Now, do be aware that I still would like you to continue your research into into placing our domains onto until at least until we are aware of so much that I am satisfied that your new technology is pure enough that we could possibly upgrade to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, once it's up and running, I will contact Duke Levitolia. I may postpone doing the until I've got that documentation from you, which will probably take a couple of days. I will postpone the embracing of the fledglings tonight, and I'll contact Duke Levitolia instead, so I can get things set up on his property, and then I'll deal with the embracing of the fledglings.
All right, very much. The only thing is the name.
The names of the people I'll be embracing.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's all that I will need.
I will squirt you an email with those names because I've already got 3 in mind. Actually, Walsh just writes down Walsh writes down 3 names and just hands them to the prince. These 3 were the top in their grades last I checked. They were actually 2 of them were mechanical engineering specialists. 1 was an electronics engineering specialist. I'm sure they can easily be trained up to the levels that I require within short order. And since we're going to be working turbines and stuff like that, these mechanical engineers will prove very useful.
Very well. Now, as I've said, that I will make sure that my staff gets on this and that I get this order signed for you as soon as I can. All
right, brilliant. With that in mind, my prince, I should probably get out. I should probably head down to. I'll take this tech with me. I've still got enough room in my car. What I should probably do is while you're headed back to the Wake District, I should probably contact Duke Levitolia and get this down to his new property, so at least we can survey it and I can build something. I can at least get this down there. There is one thing that does concern me. I don't know Duke Levitolia as well as some of you guys do. You don't think he's going to be he's going to try to put his hands on the tech and try to meddle about with it unless he understands fully what's going on? Well, do you? Because I am concerned about the fact that I am concerned that untrained hands working with this technology could potentially do some very disastrous things. Because
Mr. Levitolia does have his ways. I'm sure we're all aware of that, but as the gentleman is, his passions, where his passions, he'll never admit this publicly, but I think it's pretty clear from our meetings that his passions lie more in politics than it does in science.
All right. Well, as long as he's not going to tamper with the technology, because without me being there, because But anyway, thanks again, my prince, and I will get down to Duke Levitolia's domain forthwith, and let him know what it is we're planning.
Very well. You may be Nabil. You may wish to place in a phone call. I know that he was planning to be out of the state for a couple of nights.
All right. All right. Well, I will give him a phone call immediately after this meeting and see where he's at. So this way, I can let him know I need to get access to the property to put in the new tech. I mean, I can. Yeah, I mean, I can get the prototype built with parts I have around the lab, but you know, getting the fully thing worked up enough for the entire state is going to be a little bit different. So I'll be embracing those 3 engineers to give me a hand with the research for larger scale process as well. But again, I'll deal with that after.
Before you do take this trip down there, I do have to ask: are you familiar with, or is this technology even at a this can be accomplished? Are you familiar with how to wire in, I guess is the appropriate term here, this into the kind call it, those little metal boxes with the flip switches? System.
You mean how to run it into a circuit breaker? Like a circuit board?
I think that's what they call it. Now, that, and because it's ran into a circuit board, I think, is whatever, if that's what it's called. Yes, as long as it's ran into a board like that, the kind that may be utilizing this property have no way of knowing that the property is not on the grid.
Yeah, I actually had a plan for that, but again, that's one way of handling it. That's one part of it. The other part I've got to talk to Duke Menashe about, because it's involving sewers, and I need to, like I said, I need to talk to him about that. So when the time comes, I will. When the time comes, I will give him a shout in a little bit and get that whole end of it worked out. Because I'm probably going to give him. I'll deal with that when the time comes. But yeah, I will give. I can wire it into. I could wire it into a power system, and nobody will be any the wiser.
All right, now that's what I would like to see happen down to the property, and because I'm assuming that you're going to want to survey it before you try to do any work down there.
Oh yeah.
If you get down there to the property and after surveying it, if in your professional opinion you believe that there is a more safer, secure way can be utilized, do so. Just make sure that I'm made aware of how you did it.
All right, will do. Do I have your cell phone number by any chance, my prince? Because it would be easier just to, unless your aides have you in real-time communication, it might be easier for me just to be able to text you any particulars about this. Again, just the fewer people that know about this until such time as we have it operational, the better. Because, you know, I didn't mention the one big risk with regards to this technology. You're familiar with what happened with Fukushima, 3 Mile Island, and Chernobyl, right? When reactors ran away?
Yes, yeah. Very much so.
Okay, well, let me put it this way. This is orders of magnitude. If this reaction does run away, the state will be the least of the state will be the least of the parties affected. This is the one. This is why I want.
Which is the reason why I wish to. I want to see this in a very small scale.
Of course, and that's exactly why I'm building it the way I am, and that's why I want the 3 other people to help me. So this way, I've got someone manning the station if I'm off on another project, and then they can send, and then I can grab ghouls to be able to help during daylight hours. All right. Well,
no, like I said, now I'm going to be very serious.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you, if this project works, this project does fail and is in disastrous a way as you have described, I'm going to be very serious when I tell you that myself, but the council as well, the entirety of the council, including myself, you personally responsible for that failure.
I understand that, and if one of my idiot underlings, I only request that if one of my idiot underlings lets the reaction run away while I'm away on another project, I request that I be allowed to execute them prior to you executing me. Because I want the satisfaction of ripping the head off the idiot who caused the damage in the first place.
It is within the traditions that as long as fledgling under your command maintain the right of destruction fledgling. However, that fledgling is raised to need, my right of destruction is enacted.
Oh, I understand. I'm just saying that while they are still fledglings, I would like to be able to exercise the right of destruction before I get executed. Call it my last request.
And that right.
All right. Well, I will contact Duke Levitolia in short order then, and go survey the site, assuming he's got some time or someone in state. I remember the Duchess who's always hanging around with him, Andy Amos, I believe.
Yes.
You don't suppose she might? Yeah.
Amos is the Duchess of the.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't suppose she might be in district as well, just in case, because if she's aware of the property and Duke Levitolia is not available, she might be able to help me survey the property anyway.
It may be worth it may be contact. They do seem to be spending a lot of time with each other. One may believe they may be smitten with each other.
Well, if that's the case, that should definitely present for interesting times. Anyway, my prince, the night grows on, and I do have to contact Duke Levitolia. Sorry to cut our session short, but thank you very much again for your permission to allow me to embrace some new childer, and to be able to, for the purposes of being able to provide some special ops. I guess the way I would describe it is that every army has its corps of engineers, and a corps of one engineer is hardly a corps, now is it?
Very much so. It is very much an army that cannot. Corps of engineers is not much of an army at all, now is it?
Well, and with that in mind, my prince, I will bid you adieu. I do need to contact Duke Levitolia and get going on this survey as quickly as possible. That reminds me, I might want to contact Duke Dannington while I'm at it.
Before I take my leave, he said that he at this point has stood from. You provided him a pocket into his suit pocket. It was a of standard A4 typing paper that is folded in half.
Ooh,
inhumanly folded as he's handed to you, as if you were if you had contact information for the majority of the command, as he holds the paper over to you.
Harry takes it and says, "You know, this may actually address one of my other concerns that I brought before council some time ago. You remember when I proposed a quantum computer before my quantum computer got trashed by that demon? Remember when I proposed the concept of a real-time command network that would allow direct contact between the dukes and duchesses and yourself in the event of a crisis? So this way, real-time telemetry could be conveyed, and council could make decisions even when they weren't directly in session. For in case one duke got isolated somewhere or something."
I do remember that.
Yeah, and when Duke Hargrove shot that down on the grounds of personal liberty reasons, well, my having the contact info of the entire council should theoretically address that problem, because I can just notify each duke and duchess accordingly about threats in their district if I get intel from my own sources. I think that problem's just been addressed. I mean, of course, they'll probably be a little bit objectionable about my. Funny how a single piece of paper salty. Pardon? Yeah, good evening.
Walsh it may have, but as you said, you do have much that you need to work on this evening.
Yep.
That I will bid you adieu.
Mm-hmm. And with that, as the prince leaves, Harry escorts the prince to the door. And as the prince leaves, Harry, after the prince has left and Harry's made sure the hallway's clear, he closes the door and promptly makes a phone call.
Right.
First to Duke Marquez, and then to Duke Andy, Duke Amos. Well, first to Duke Levitolia. I'll get my phone out for a prop.
Oh. It rings.
Yep.
Rings a few times. Levitolia.
Hey, Duke Levitolia, this is Harry Walsh calling. The prince has asked me to contact you. He has some property down in your district that he wanted me to survey. Gives the exact address that the prince gave him. Are you available to be able to take me down to see that property, or is now not a good time? Or to get you someone
actually, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, Mr. Walsh. I am actually sitting on the tarmac port down here.
Oh, okay. Bad timing, I guess. Rain check then, or should I contact Duke Amos and she might be able to give me a tour of the property?
To be honest, I don't. She was headed back to Federal this evening. But I tell you what, I have a way to copy down another.
I've got most of the contact info at the council, but yeah, I've got a pen and paper handy to copy down another phone number.
Well, this is a personal contact. This is one of my goals.
Okay.
Overseeing the project. As I said, I don't know how much the Prince told you about this, but the company is one of his companies and one of mine are code. This number that I'm about to give you is for the foreman. Probably can't see you this evening. Give him a call in the next day or two. Just let him know that you got a number from me and that you be on site to do whatever work it is that you need to do.
All right. I'll give him a call. I'll give him a call and leave him a message tonight, just to let him know that I'm just to let him know that I'm going to be just to let him know to call me back, and we'll arrange a time.
All right. And you see he riddles off numbers for you.
Harry writes them down. Thanks again, Duke. Thanks again, Duke Levitolia. And again, sorry about the interruption. I'm assuming I know you're very busy.
No, it's perfectly okay. I understand. It's I'll tell you what. Let's see. What is today? You hear him. Sounds like he's rifling through papers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be out of town. Be in Milan for over to Frankfurt. I should be back by next Monday at the latest.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, next Tuesday. Next Monday, I'll get a flight out that night. Make that next Tuesday. If we can go through the building with just.
Okay, I'll put it on.
You.
Yeah, I'll put it on the line for then. I'll probably want to see the property multiple times anyway. What during the program I'm involved, just working out the details. So yeah, I'm definitely going once through with the foreman and going through in more detail with you, and then I'll tell you what's up with between the prince and myself, and we'll work the details accordingly.
All right. Well, let's give him a call and see what he can do for you.
All right, will do. Thanks again, Duke Levitolia.
All right, you too.
Okay, bye-bye. Harry hangs up the phone and promptly recalls the fresh number.
And same thing, it goes direct to a voicemail.
Hi, this is Harry Walsh III. This is Harry Walsh III. I'm a PhD student at East Carolina University and in the Faculty of Engineering. I've been told to contact you by a by Marquez Levatolia, or whatever pseudonym was used, to come and inspect this particular address. With regard to a project that I've been asked to come take a look at the site and install. So, if you could give me a shout back at Harry Walsh's phone number to let me know when would be a good time to come down and take a look at it, that'd be much appreciated. Thanks a bunch. Bye bye. And with that, hangs up. He then proceeds to contact Andy Amos.
Phone rings a couple of times, and you hear her answer.
Hello, Duke Amos.
What can I do for you?
Yeah, that's right. Hello, this is Harry Walsh calling. Wanted to, apologize again for the little fiasco during Elysium.
About that.
Yeah. Anyway, the other reason I'm calling is because of the fact that I'm currently organizing something with help of the Prince and Duke Levatolia, and I was wondering if you might be interested in possibly seeing this project. I'm thinking about some artistic applications for it, and I could use your insight.
Go on.
Duke Amos?
Go on.
Okay. Basically, the project involves a Harry hits a couple of buttons to make sure his line is secure. The project involves a new energy source, basically tapping what's called the Casimir effect or zero-point energy. Now, part of this involves gravitational manipulation and does a lot of light distortion and that kind of thing. Now, one of the things that I was thinking might be kind of interesting was the possibility of putting this in such a way that it does some very unique gravitational lensing effects with regards to the light in the surrounding area. And with regards to pattern use for that, something that might be more artistic, I wanted to get your thoughts on I wanted to do some possible design works. So this way, it's pleasing to look at for when kindred walk through the power station, if they so choose to. And I could use your insight on an artistic installation, considering that I've seen some of your work before. I think it's quite highly impressive, and I could really use an artistic eye on this.
Yeah, I can provide that. Where were you thinking about having this installed?
Harry gives the name of the address that Marquez and the Prince are working on. This will be the large-scale version, but for small-scale stuff, the small-scale version of the tech is currently in my laboratory, and I'm wondering about the possibility of sometime in the next night or two getting some ideas for the small-scale version of it, so I can up it to large-scale when the time comes. That is, if you have the time, of course.
Oh, I'm sure I can make the time.
It's just I know the council members are very busy, and I don't want to disrupt you with anything more than I don't want to disrupt your schedule any more than has to be done.
Yeah, I'm sure I can make the time. Do you have a contact for Miss Faye by chance?
Yeah.
Yes, she's gonna be have her handling my scheduling for some time.
Okay. Let me give her a. I have Faye's contact info, so let me give her a call and bring her in on this, and we can. I'll conference call her and see if she could come in for a three-way conversation. Is that doable?
That's perfectly fine.
Hang on. As Walsh calls in for a three-way call. Mishi, need to borrow you for a second. Your voice is needed for in scene.
Okay.
You don't have to come in. You can just drop right next to me because of the fact that it's just basically your voice is needed. This is a three-way conference call.
Yes, I can move to another chair.
The phone's ringing. I'll take out the headphones to make this easier. And let me zoom the volume up to 100% so you can hear clearly. Okay, the phone has rung for Faye.
Good evening, you've reached Forgotten Midnights.
Hi, yes, Faye, Harry Walsh here. I've got Andy Amos on the line as well. We're trying to organize her. We're trying to organize a schedule for her to be able to come down and look at the Casimir effect project for artistic purposes, gravitational lensing, that sort of thing. And she said that you would be organizing her schedule for the next little while.
Okay.
You were Duke Amos, are you still on?
I am. Faye, just if you will, at the paperwork that I'm emailing out to you, take a look at the passwords for my out, and if you that and time that works for Mr. Walsh.
I only have half of that call was breaking up.
Well, could you repeat that? She only half heard that.
All right. Take a look at the email that I sent you that has all of the passwords for my Outlook address and my calendar. Pull that up and find a time that works for Mr. Walsh.
All right. It looks like there's a spot open tomorrow night at around 10.
Is that that's doable for me? If that's doable for you, Duke Amos?
Yeah, if it's clear, that's we're good for that.
Okay. I'll program that in.
Thanks a bunch. Good to talk to you again, Faye, and I'll catch you at a later point.
All right, we'll talk again.
Signing off. Faye hangs up with Walsh hangs up with Faye. Well, Duke Amos, again, if tomorrow's best suits you, perhaps if you have the time afterwards, I know a nice little I know a nice little spot in the district here, which serves some of the which serves some of the loveliest vintage. By the way, Walsh didn't make that.
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, I know a nice little cafe that serves the nicest vintage. Perhaps you'd like to join me for a drink after we work on the art installation.
Time permitting, I'm sure that can be done.
All right. Well, I wish you a lovely evening. I wish you a lovely evening, Duke Amos, and I'll catch you tomorrow at 10.
All right, likewise.
All right, and with that, Harry hangs up on the Duke, and proceeds to head up back to NC State to embrace the top three engineering students that he's going to need. He also fires off a quick message to Dennington, which I'll take care of after scene, and basically saying, embracing 3 new kindred will be under your command. The prince has okayed it, and with names accordingly. So yeah, at NC State, which I'm sure takes about an hour, give or take, from ECU, 2 hours. Yeah, about 2 hours. Harry pops into his old lab and pops into the engineering building and goes after waits until after class for the top 3 engineering students that he had in mind. 2 male mechanical engineering students, 1 female electrical engineering student. They're coming out of a thermodynamics course, and Harry proceeds to say, "Hey, you 3, I've got a project for you that I thought might be interesting. Just around the corner, I wanted to show you guys the latest tech. I think you'll be interested in this for your one of your projects for your practicums."
Sure.
And as Harry
pardon? the dig done, and
yep. And when they come to, Harry sits there and goes, "Congratulations, you three! You've just been drafted into the ranks of the." And when they come to, and the hall is deserted, Harry says, "Congratulations, you three! You've just been drafted into the ranks of the Camarilla. I'll explain more later, but you're coming with me for now."
All right. Some protest, but
yeah, Harry basically says, "Let's put it this way: you're going to get a lot more engineering technology from this than you ever are from your traditional bachelor's degrees. I've got a lot more in store for you." I take it the protest dies down after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Harry shows them the light bulb. I won't bring it back out again, but Harry basically shows them the light bulb and says, "Yeah, we found the limitless energy field. You're coming to work with me on this." And with that, I guess, unless there's anything else, the scene ends.
That'll be it.
All right, that'll be it. Bye, everyone, and stay tuned for another episode of Tarheel by Dark.